Well, welcome to Shade and the City. I'm your girl Treese, and of course, nails ain't for the soap operas, but we're here to get into the Beyond the Gates season 1, episode 7. I guess you could say Tuesday's episode. And yeah, y'all. So I'm ready to get into it. It was good, of course, because that's just what it is. And hopefully y'all have tuned in for this Tuesday episode. If not, I suggest that you go watch it before you watch this recap because there will be spoilers. Okay. But if you have not already, please do me a favor. Make sure you go hit that like button and that you guys subscribe as well. And let's jump right into this recap. And yeah, let's get shady. All right, y'all. So you know where we left off yesterday. Bill has gotten word of this press conference that Vernon has called, and he wants to attend despite Haley's objections. He doesn't want Danny to get off with what she did on their wedding day, and so he's arguing with Haley about, or I guess debating with Haley about wanting to be at the press conference to protect his reputation. Okay, and so Haley asked him, "Well, can you consider my feelings? It is my wedding day," and here you are running off to run behind the Duprees again, and Danny, and it's my day. And so she doesn't want to be left there alone, which is understandable. So then we see Vernon. He's letting the family know that he's about to do all the talking at this press conference. He notices that Jacob isn't there, which we know is Naomi's husband. And she tells him that he had to go to work. And so he was like, well, it would be good to have him here to stand as a member of the police force to stand in solidarity with us. Okay. So Martin brings to his grandfather's attention that the live footage of Danny is spreading like hotcakes. Okay. Nicole suggests that she speak up on Danny's behalf as a licensed therapist and says that, she can explain it as a mental break. So they start to think that maybe this is a good idea. And she makes it clear that this is a pattern that they've developed throughout their life. And so finally, Vernon, Mr. Dupree agrees, but that kind of lets us know, little nugget, that kind of lets us know that basically this is a cycle. Apparently, like I said, Danny is the one that messes up, and Nicole comes and it sounds like helps her out or cleans her up as the good older sister. So yeah, the press arrives and immediately wants to ask questions about the video, but Vernon basically is deflecting. And so he says that Danny did have a weapon, but it inadvertently, am I saying that right? Discharged. Okay. And so one of the reporters are like, well, why are you lying? And if that's the case, and she didn't mean no harm, why isn't she there? So that's when Danny walks into the room. Surprise, surprise. Okay. And so she's like, there's no way I'd miss this, and you guys deserve to hear the truth. So the reporter is calling out Vernon because he feels like, the reporter is like, you're covering up for your daughter, and can you just tell us the truth? So he's like, yeah, she pulled out a weapon based on poor judgment, and someone absolutely could have been hurt, but Danny had no intention on powing anybody. Okay. And so he points out that Danny actually shifted the weapon before she actually fired it. So he's like, yo, she realizes her mistakes, but she was also under horrific emotional distress. And so the reporter is like, well, was she trying to unalive them? Well, he just said that she shifted. So come on now. And so that's when Anita, Miss Dupree, steps in and shuts her down and is like, look, let me give you some of the truth. Okay. She tells them the whole story about how Bill has been putting her daughter through her Haley and Bill have been putting her daughter through hell. And basically it's like my daughter has been pushed to the edge and almost went over. Okay. So then finally Danny gets up and apologizes to the staff as well as her family for her actions and admits that this is a very low point in her life. She lets Chelsea know she didn't do anything wrong, which I could appreciate. And then Bill walks in with Haley still in her wedding gown and says that he wants to give his own testimony, like he in church or something. Okay. So he steps up to the podium and he points out all the charges that she could face from this live stream. And he says that he doesn't blame Chelsea, but does blame Danny for putting her up to it and embarrassing him on his wedding day. And I was like, well, damn, why you had to take, why did, I mean, I guess because I don't know. I just, poor Chelsea. All right. So Bill claims that this isn't an isolated incident and says that Danny has been harassing them for days, and then brings up how she also slapped Haley in the face publicly. And he's like, I'm one thing, but what I will not tolerate is her bullying my new wife. Okay. And so Vernon scolds Bill for, after this is all done and everybody is left, Vernon scolds Bill for taking over his press conference and telling him, look, you're done. Okay. That I gave you a few seconds. You're done. All right. So Nurse Ashley is still on a high, right, from delivering this baby. And she's complimenting Andre on how great of a partner and assisting her that he was, which we can see is bothering the hell out of Derek. Okay. And shout out to Blatant Truth again, because she pointed out a good point. I hope it ain't nothing crazier going on with Derek, but we can tell that for whatever reason, Andre is really getting under his skin. And I don't know if it's, I hate to compare men to dogs, but they always say a man will always know when somebody is trying to piss in his yard. Okay. And that's the vibe that Derek was giving me. So Nurse Shanice comes out and lets her know that they named the baby Ashley Andrea. And so again, Derek seems to be really bothered. Ashley wants to go see the baby, and Shanice is like, no, she just had a baby in the elevator. Her husband wasn't there. Can you give her a moment with her child and let them be? I mean, she named the baby after you. Chill out. Okay. And so she's giving Andre his flowers for his assistant, and then assistants, and then it's like, oh, it's Eric, and I couldn't have done this without you. And she plants a big kiss on him, which seems to ruffle Andre's feathers. So I was like, what is going on here? Okay. Just a lot of jealousy. And so once they finish their moment, Dr. Shanice lets Ashley know every day won't be this exciting. And Derek tells Andre he doesn't expect him to be hanging around the hospital that often. And so Shanice lets him know that, oh no, you don't know who his aunt is. His aunt is, works in our psychiatry department. And his Uncle Ted does plastic surgery. So he absolutely probably has a reason to be around, which we know makes Derek probably feel uncomfortable. Okay. So then, y'all, I really feel like the reason why I didn't remember Smitty's name is because I don't like him and I don't see it for him. And this particular scene proved or kind of gave me a head start to like, oh, you clocked it before it actually played out. I don't see it for Smitty. Smitty is sneaky. That's what I really want to call him. Let's call him Sneaky Smitty. All right. So Smitty and Martin are having a sidebar after the whole press conference, and he brings up what he said at his grandparents' house. Well, Smitty brings up what Martin said at his grandparents' house about exploding from rage, and says his grandparents act if there's some big secret. And Martin is like, it's nothing to be concerned about. And how many times did I tell you to stop asking about this? But we know Smitty is still suspicious because Smitty used to be a reporter and he liked to get in people's business. Okay. And apparently gave up his career to be taking care of kids. And that is not what Smitty wanted to do. So Danny then apologizes back at the press conference. She's apologizing to her parents again and says that she plans to take full responsibility. So she actually tells her father that she wants them to call the police. And so the next scene, we see that they have actually called the police, and the officer makes a report. And Naomi lets him know that, obviously they won't be taking her in because there's no warrant for her arrest. And then Vernon jumps in and is like, oh, hey, you're such and such. And he's like, well, I play golf with the police chief tomorrow. And so he's like, and I plan to tell him all about how well you treated us. And I said, you better do it. You better do it, Mr. Dupree. So, of course, he's like, thank you. I'll just, make an incident report, and, goes about his way. And so, of course, Bill's disappointed that they've let Annie off the hook. And Danny goes to thank Nicole which is her sister, for the support. And Nicole basically tells her, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to support you. But at the same time, girl, I think you need to talk to somebody not in this family. And I can make sure that it's discreet because you need some help. And I absolutely agree. I can't, and we'll get there. But especially based off what we seen towards the end of the episode and her having like I forgot what's the word that I'm looking for, but her going back in her memory of times with Bill. I absolutely understand that. Yes, Danny, it might be a little bit crazy, but she absolutely has a right to be. Um, so then should we see back at the hospital, we see Shanice sharing photos of the baby with Ashley. She is on a adrenaline high and she's like, oh, I can work later. And Shanice is like, girl, go home, get some rest. And so finally, reluctantly, she agrees, but said that she'll be back in the morning because she want to see that baby before the baby leave. Okay. So then Martin is complaining about the journalist coming after Danny. Um, and his grandfather, and Smitty feels like, well, he did a great job, and says that he would have done the same and actually dug deeper to find out how close his ties really are to the cops. So Martin was like, Martin, the answer to those questions because you're family. And tells him like, look, it seems like you're enjoying my family's pain a little bit too much. So Smitty says that no, I feel bad for your family, but I just miss the news and the excitement. And so Martin said, well, your excitement is raising these teenagers. Have fun. Okay. And so as Bill at this point is chastising Vernon for pulling his weight to make sure that Danny suffered no consequences, he accuses him of gaslighting the entire country and pretending to be a living saint, and tells him he's nothing more than a ruthless DC operator. Okay. Vernon tells him that he and Danny are even, and it's time to declare a ceasefire, which we know Bill doesn't see it that way, but Vernon's like, we're done here. Stop coming for my daughter, and I ain't got it. I ain't got to mess with you. So then at this point, Bill realizes that Danny has left, and Danny has gone back to the bar. Now, this is what I'm talking about. So then she has a moment where she's at the bar and she's reminiscing on the night that Naomi got married. She talks about the demands he made of her, or Bill was talking about the demands he made of her when they got married and wanting her to end her career, focus on him and their kids. And he basically gives her things, and is like, thank you for doing all that for me and putting up with everything that you did. And he actually promises her that the next chapter will be better than everything that she's walked away from. And he wants to spend the rest of his life proving it to her. And Danny says, oh, I'll do it again and again. But I'm happy that they showed this, because taking us back again, I can understand that some people might be like, okay, Danny, you just need to get over it. You just need to move on, go to therapy, do what you need to do. But if this was Naomi's wedding, and I don't know how long ago this was, it just makes me feel as if shortly after he said all these wonderful things to her and made all these promises, he ended up with Haley. So I absolutely understand why she lost her shit. Okay, let's just keep it real. Um, so then we see Chelsea. She's still beating herself up for live streaming the whole fiasco. The cousin Cat comes to check on her and apologizing for being so hard on her earlier. Chelsea says she wants to go off the grid. Okay, completely. She's done. But then Cat has to remind her, look, we working real hard on this purse line, and technically we need you and your reach to promote this business venture. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna need you to stop blaming yourself, because even your mama don't blame you. And at the end of the day, you messing with the bag. Okay, is basically what Kat was saying. And so then we see Ashley. She's made it back home with Derek. She's like, all her nerves are gone away, all her fears that she had after this major event. Of course, she's thanking him for being so supportive. And then he lets her know that she has support from a lot of people. Okay. And so then she's like, yeah, Naomi and all these other people. But of course, she can't help but mention Andre. Which obviously again gets under Derek's skin. So Derek declines to stay the night because they're both too tired. I think Derek was tired of hearing about Andre. I think that's what the real it of it was. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't deny he's a firefighter. He probably was tired. But I think he was more tired of hearing about Andre. But y'all drop in the comments, let me know what you think. So then we see Bill finally back at home again with Haley. He wants to obviously consummate his marriage, and Haley isn't really feeling it. She tells him she really didn't want to go to the press conference, but she also didn't want to be at home alone. Girl, I'm gonna need you to learn some sense of independence. I ain't gonna hold you. This man does not need to take you everywhere. The fact that y'all work together, but I mean that's how y'all got together, so I get it. I don't get it, but I get it, Haley. I get it. I get it, Hussy Haley. And I did find the four H's, y'all. Hussy, heifer, harlot, and hoe. There you go. 4H. All right. She's official member of the club. So now, Bill was like, well, yeah. And then she's like, I didn't want to be alone. And then you still had me surrounded by Dupree's. So Bill thinks that they finally closed the chapter with Danny and tells her, from this moment forward, it's all about her. So then, and then as he, later on in the evening, he comes out looking for Haley, expecting her to be in the bed with him. And Haley tells him, she heard him on the phone with Mike and he was discussing, I guess, a wrongful death lawsuit, and she's upset that nothing has gone the way she's planned on her wedding day, and she lets him know that she's not a fighter as he is, and she just needs some time, and ask for his patience, because basically being up against Danny and these Duprees is a lot. But you know what it was when you signed up. Okay, I'm sure it looked good from the outside the gate. Okay, but now you in the gate, in beyond the gate. Okay. All right. So then we see Andre. He is waiting at Danny's home. I think one thing I did forget to mention is that Danny, we did see her grab her phone before she left the bar after she had that little memory of her and Bill. And apparently it was Andre. Okay. She texts him, said, let him know that she left the door open. Okay. Like Bruno. And she pulls up in a trench coat with nothing underneath. All right. So Andre is like, so afterwards, they had sexy time. And Andre is like, well, why did you call me? And she reveals that she almost took Bill out at their wedding. And so Andre's like, well, I had no clue. And she's like, oh, yeah, there's a whole viral video. Where you been? But we know Andre been in the elevator with Ashley delivering babies. So, Danny lets him know that basically her father was able to get her off. And, he's like, well, what did you learn from the situation? And so, but he also lets her know that he's attracted to the danger of her. Okay. And she said, well, no, she's promising that she's going to behave like a proper Dupree woman, even if it unalives her. Okay, y'all. So, yeah, that was a quick rundown of this week's episode. Like I said, it wasn't this week's episode, Tuesday's episode of Beyond the Gates. If there was anything I missed, please make sure you drop in the comments. But yeah, y'all, it was good, and I will catch you tomorrow for episode 8, and we'll see where it goes. But I think that I think I like Danny and Andre. I think I like it better than Andre and Ashley. But based off everything that Danny has been through lately, I don't like Andre for her because she's already been with an F boy, right? So it's almost like, even though she's single and they're both mingling, I can only imagine if she finds out, if he starts messing with Ashley, how hurt she might be. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Because again, I don't know. Maybe she's just playing with him. Y'all let me know your thoughts on what you think is going to transpire. We still need to find out what the hell Martin did. It's a lot, y'all. And it's a lot. Okay. But and we gotta figure out what's gonna happen on with, we didn't see Eva or Les this episode. The evil woman, Phyllis, is what I like to call her, Phyllis. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate you for being here for this recap of Beyond the Gates. If you guys have not already, please, please, please make sure that you have hit that like button. Make sure that you guys comment, you subscribe, and you hit the notification bell so you know when we got new things dropping, when we're going live, all that good stuff. And like I said, y'all, for those that asked, I did drop my Amazon wishlist link in the community page. So for all those that are interested, definitely appreciate it. But as I said, again, your love and continuous support is really what matters most to me, us, and the channel. So I want to thank y'all for that, most importantly. And yeah, love y'all. And I'll see you tomorrow for episode 8 of Beyond the Gates. Bye bye.